Hello, Saints. Today's women of interest are Shiphrah and Pur. Who are these ladies? They are Egyptian ladies living in Egypt, and they're working as midwives. And basically, their work is to make sure that babies are born safely. So they're having an ordinary day in the hospital, working, delivering babies. When the king of Egypt sends for them, what does the king say? Ladies, from today henceforth, every time you have a Hebrew woman on your bath stools delivering a baby, if it's a boy, make sure that you kill this baby. If it's a girl, let it live so they will be our slaves. Why? The king was becoming so insecure because of the multiplication in number of the children of Israel. Remember, the Lord has a covenant with the Israelites' grandfather Abraham. Which one is that? I will give you descendants that are more than the sand on the earth. Why? The Lord is echoing the same promise he gave to us if we walk according to, if we operate in his image and according to his likeness. He told us in Genesis chapter 1, verse 26 that, look, I am creating man, but for as long as man is in my image and he works according to the way I want him to, he will have dominion. Fast forward to Abraham, same promise. Now these guys, they've left wherever they were and they came to Egypt to live in Egypt. When they came to Egypt, there was only 70 of them. Jacob moves into Egypt because his son Joseph has invited him to live in Egypt because there was famine in the whole world and only Egypt had food, and Joseph had become the prime minister for Egypt. So for this reason, the family had to migrate to Egypt. So as they're immigrants in Egypt, there's only 70 of them living in Goshen. But you see, these people began to multiply in number, so many, that the king became insecure and uncomfortable. So being a king, and all he thinks is, he's got a military mind. He's thinking, if we get attacked by the enemy, and these Israelites join our enemy, they will subdue us. So let us kill their babies. So this is why Shiphrah and Pur are called into the palace to kill the babies. Let me tell you something. These guys have mastered worship unto Yahweh. These two women, they did not do as the king said. Instead, they let the babies live. But I'm asking myself, excuse you, you are Egyptians. How is it you are obeying the God of Israel? I don't know if they have friends who are Israelite, but somehow they obey the Lord. They were introduced to the God of heaven. So they chose to obey the God of heaven as opposed to their king. If you read Exodus chapter 1, this is where the story of Shiphrah and Pur is. Exodus chapter 1 verse 17 says, "But the midwives feared God and did not do as the king of Egypt commanded them, but served the male children alive." Guys, I'm learning from Shiphrah and Pur that worship goes beyond just singing, and it graduates to a level of obedience. Obedience is the biggest act of worship, because in obedience, you're saying to the one who has commanded you to do a thing that you believe in them. So now these ladies, they're not all about, oh, I will sing unto the Lord. It goes beyond lip service, and it's now a thing of, Father, whatever you say, I will do. They remind me of the people that the Lord, when the Lord is speaking to the prophet Isaiah in Isaiah 29, the Lord said, "Inasmuch as these people draw near to me with their lips, and worship me with their mouths, their hearts are far from me, because now their worship has become something that is a commandment of men." So Shiphrah and Pur are not all about the commandment of men. Their hearts are with the Lord. So I see girls who are in such a deep relationship with God that they do not care what the king has said. It's all about what God has said. And the Lord is calling us women to stand in this boldness, the boldness of whatever God says we shall do, right? These ladies must have read Psalm 75, which says leadership does not come from the east or the west or the south. It comes from the Lord. So if it is the Lord, the King of kings, it is the Lord who has appointed this Pharaoh as king, that doesn't mean the earthly king is higher than the King of kings who is in heaven. Peter in the book of Acts, he says, shall we honor men as opposed to God? As in us guys. See, Peter was being persecuted for spreading the gospel. And then when they're brought before the council, Peter's like, no, us we shall fear, we shall honor God and not man. So Shiphrah and Puah are rolling in these principles of whatever God says, we shall do. Shiphrah and Puah are rolling like Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, like, yo, if we die, we die, for as long as we're doing things unto the Lord. Shiphrah and Puah are cousins to Esther, like, yo, if I die, I die, for as long as what the Lord wants is done. So I feel like the Lord is calling us to that space of women. I need your hearts. Stop running from pillar to post. Stop rolling in self-righteousness. Stop setting up rules for yourself that if I do this, the Lord will do. You know, some of us are so good at commanding the Lord. And in the end, we give a sacrifice of fools that King Solomon talked about in Ecclesiastes chapter 5. He says, draw near to the Lord to hear, rather than to give a sacrifice of fools, for they do not know that they do evil. Let your words be few when you come before the Lord. So the Lord is calling us in a space of, guys, hit the secret place. Come to the secret place. When you come to the secret place, read my word. Know what I need you to do. Know my principles. You need to do things according to me, because there's going to come men who are going to ask you to do certain things that are contrary to my word, that are contrary to what I want. When I told Abraham and I told Isaac and I told this entire lineage that I'm going to multiply their people, I meant it. So now for me, I make sure that every time people come together in Israel, they have babies. So whoever is saying now kill the Hebrew babies, they're working against my mission, because I'm about to bring Moses into the picture, and Moses is the one who will deliver these Israelites out of Egypt. So if we kill all the male babies, who will be my Moses? The Bible goes further ahead to say in Exodus chapter 1 verse 20 that therefore God dealt well with the midwives, and the people multiplied and grew very mighty. The Lord dealt well with Shiphrah and Puah. Why? They obeyed the Lord. But now let's go to simple terms, English. What is obedience? Obedience is doing what I am expected to do by the one who is commanding me. Basically, for obedience to happen, there's got to be a commander. Who is the commander? God. So every time I do things that are commanded by men, every time I obey man, and yet what they're saying to me is contrary to what God is saying in his word, I'm living in disobedience. So it doesn't matter how well I sing in church. It doesn't matter how many times I fast a week. I am giving a sacrifice of fools, according to Ecclesiastes chapter 5, verses 1 to 3. So the Lord is calling us to read his word, because that's it. That's the foundation of Christianity. Read my word so you can know my principles. That way, even as you go about your business as a midwife doing your work, you are on a pulpit, you're serving me. Because again, a lot of us think that serving God is standing on a podium. No, serving the Lord is doing what the Lord wants. To serve is to worship. To worship is to be reverent unto Yahweh. What does Yahweh mean? Yahweh means personal God. So the Lord is calling us to have a personal relationship with him. When we have a personal relationship with him, he will come to us and say to us, don't do what everyone else is doing. Don't listen to what so-and-so is saying. Sometimes it will seem like they're telling us something genuine. Oh, but don't you see, when the Israelites grow in number, they will kill us. But that's not what the Lord says. So the Lord dealt well with Shiphrah and Puah. So I'm sure further ahead, when Egypt is suffering all manner of plagues, not Shiphrah and Puah, girl, they will not see frogs, they will not see darkness, they will not lose firstborn sons. Why? Because they obeyed the Lord in a land that was so full of darkness. When darkness filled the space in Egypt, there were two girls who knew the light. Why? They knew God. They feared the Lord. So with everything that's going on here in this world, every time you turn the telly on, there's drama going on. When you check your social media, there's all manner of drama going on. Everything is anti-Christ. The Lord is calling us to read our Bibles. And when we read our Bibles, we don't just read to listen. We read to obey. We look out for the call to action. What is the Lord saying to me? I will do this, even if it costs me certain friendships, even if it costs me my family, even if it costs me citizenship in Egypt, because I'm disobeying the king. I will obey the King of Kings, because that's the kind of woman that the Lord is looking for. A woman like Shiphrah and pure. And when Jesus comes in the New Testament and he chooses his disciples, only those that follow him and do his word will be his true disciples. When Jesus leaves and he leaves his spirit with the remaining disciples, now apostles, that's the same voice that we hear in Simon Peter when they're being imprisoned and persecuted by the authorities, the Pharisees, the Sadducees. They know one thing: we shall obey God, we shall honor God and not man. And when Paul happens, the apostle, his entire ministry is based on that. No matter how many the kings, Agrippa, Felix, whoever, they tried to jail him up, to imprison him, to beat him up, snakes stinging him and things, he stayed on one agenda: Christ crucified, Jesus Christ. So guys, you want to be a woman? Obey the Lord. Follow Jesus Christ. Thank you so much. God bless you. Bye.